Okay, right, so the prep time is over, so we'll be starting the model debate for today. So, could everyone please be quiet, please?
How much time do we get per person?
It'll be 5 minutes, 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, chairing will be Kaori Maruyama. We'd like to everyone in this debate, so, and panel leaders.
Rico Yamanaka, and good luck.
Yeda Kubota, good luck.
Okay, so today's motion is this house believes that the world where people can't lie is a better world. It is better than the real world. And without further ado, we invite the Prime Minister to begin this debate within 5 minutes. Here we are.
I would like to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. We probably propose that the world where people cannot lie is definitely better than the status quo. So for setup, first we believe that on our side there's the option not to say anything on our side for people on our side for the citizens who on our side they still have the option to say the truth or to just stay silent. Second, people can rephrase their comments on our side. For example, if someone had a really bird-shaped, very Dasai hat, and if you think a green hat suits you better, you're allowed to say a green hat suits you better than that bird-shaped hat. They can still rephrase their comments without lying. Going on to my framing, we believe society and society as a whole should matter the most in this debate, considering it's obviously a majority, and because they're the ones who are going to be affected the most in this debate. So going into our main point, there is going to be a major societal impact on our side. So in the status quo, politicians lie. They lie about their strategy. They lie about their actions, and they lie that they're truly doing something good for society. And in most cases, they're not. So this also means that these politicians are going to lie to the citizens, even in times where they're supposed to be honest. 3 reasons why politicians are obviously going to be incentivized to lie in society. First, it's a kind of good marketing strategy. Politicians lie to the citizens about their actions as a politician and how they're going to solve stuff about the environment and all those in these issues. They use it to make society vote for them, since they obviously want to be voted. Second, they lie to maintain their reputation. For instance, in the status quo, Donald Trump is refusing to talk about something about the murder of a famous celebrity, lying that he's unconnected to a strange list of murdering the celebrity. He's lying because he doesn't want to be thought of as a person connected to this murder. So lying is used when they want to escape specific suspicions and promote their reputation. Third, status quo evidence. Like we said, there's loads of presidents lying to promote their reputation, and Japanese governments are using the money they were supposed to use for advertising to use to their own needs and wants. They've escaped this suspicion countless of times, and this only happened because they were able to lie. So why are these lies so harmful for society? Well, this is quite obvious, right? Governments use lies to cover up the guilty actions they did in the past, and many of them have somehow promoted themselves to president because of the existence of these lies and how they're able to cover up the crimes they've done in the past. Society has been tricked by many, believing that they're going to save the world and voting for them, eventually finding out that they're not doing anything, but it's too late. On our side, though, all of this doesn't happen in the first place. We believe that our burden is to prove why our side protects society from these false smiles plastered on the governments, and we will be able to on our side. So since people can't lie on our side, the governments aren't able to cover up a crime. They either say, yes, I did a crime, or just sit and say nothing. Obviously, if they do so, society is going to be suspicious, and it's easier for society to just ignore all the governments that did something bad, committed a crime, or punished something false, or just tried to lie, and prevent them from being promoted. This basically means a better society, since the governments promoted are possibly only going to be the good, honest ones who actually have the incentive to work for society. This is basically because they can't lie, and because society are able to trust all the governments that are probably going to be promoted on our side. So issues start getting solved, crimes like bribery can't exist possibly because they're honest, and if something happens, the society's possibly going to ask them, did you do a crime? And if they like lie or say, and if they admit that they did something or just stay silent, you're obviously going to be currently kicked out. So this means society is going to progress with the good government leading the way for these citizens. On their side, no such good government exists on their side. Citizens are blinded into this trap labeled quote-unquote lies and can't do anything even after realizing that they were being tricked. So this is why we probably propose, and this is why they cannot have any government that's entirely honest, or that can prevent them from like being able to do bribery or any other crimes that might affect society and prevent them from progressing. Thank you.
Thank you, PM and Ellery.
Hello, I'm Anna from the opposition side, and I will be the first speaker. First of all, I would like to say something to the government side. Politicians lie for their income, their social status, so they would be able to have something to live on, something to eat. Pay for all their bills, but also politicians are only some of the people in the world that lie. For all the rest of the people in the world, lying is very important, and trust is very important too. First of all, lies and trust help the relationship. We need this balance to make sure that we humans will be able to try to look deeper into what we like to find in people, and if the people are good for us, if the people are bad for us, if we can trust them or not. White lies are made for that, and it helps us not be brutally truthful and help us make other people feel good. Yes?
So how do you react to our Prime Minister's framing about being able to paraphrase like any bad things you might need to say?
So, sometimes like it is important to lie to keep our reputations and if we really don't want to show the world who we are. So you could, like, without white lies, you could hurt other people's feelings, reputation, or sometimes without lies, you could hurt your own reputation, which is just as important as other people's relationships. So everybody lies to keep their reputations, and politicians, they lie for their income, and they lie for their reputation. And what if you support a group of people who isn't a person that is supported a lot, like somebody who most people think is weird. If you tell that you support that group, everybody else might think you're weird too, and that would just like hurt your own feelings, hurt your reputation, and like it makes you feel ashamed of who you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Elo. And now, Andrew, please.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Imagine yourself if you have no friends. How would you feel? Hi, I'm Yuka Funato, and I firmly believe that the world where people cannot lie is better than the real world. First for the rebuttals, the other side stated that only some of the politicians lie. However, this is possibly not valid. We have already given you 3 reasons why the governments lie to society. Moreover, if we look at the status quo, the majority of governments are lying and committing crimes. How can opposition possibly do this? And also, they ignored our warning about rephrasing bad things you might be able to say. My main point is that white lies and white lies is not good. First, for example, like she said, if someone had a pink hat and it doesn't suit you, maybe you would say that you should try a green one. Many people believe that this is a lie, but it is not, because we will make someone feel better, because if they like the green one, the friendship will be more deeper and it will be more like fun with your friends. And next example, if you didn't do your homework and your friends said or say that if you did your homework, and many people say that I did, but if your friend notice that I'm lying, or lying, they will betray you, or they will say that, why did you betray me? Why did you lie to me? Like, we were friends. And you will have no friends. And if you lie to your teacher, like you haven't do your homework and you said you did. And if the teacher notice that you're lying, they will check a low position, and you don't have a chance to go to big universities, and you might lose job in the future. In conclusion, lies would be same as losing money, because if you lose a job, you lose your money, right? So you will lose your money,
and you will struggle your lives and future. Again, if we say lies, you will struggle forever. This is one word, lie. If you lie one word, it will change your lives. If that happens, it is better to not live on a world that it is better to live in a world where people cannot lie. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And now, Emma, please.
Oh, yeah. Can I just stop watch this? Oh, yeah, whatever. I'll start in. Yeah, I'm starting.
Judges, I am the second speaker of the opposition side and the member of opposition, and I'd like to do a few things in this speech. One, I'd like to rebut things that the government side has stated. Two, I'd like to reconstruct on some of our points. And three, I'd like to bring in a new point and also do a conclusion where I compare the two sides and why I think we are better. First, I'd like to do my three main rebuttals. My first rebuttal is that the other side says that these politicians are people whose whole party is built on lies, and thus they're not actually trying to help the people. But the politicians are just a small minority of people. Why are we sacrificing the majority, the effect for the most of the people, the citizens here, for just taking into account the politicians? In this world where you're able to lie.
Point.
Yes?
You do understand the actions of politicians that affect whole society, right?
Yes, they do. But what do you think affects society more? Each and every of the hundreds and thousands of people in the city, or that one group of people who are affecting it? Plus, it's the citizens who are the ones who are deciding who are they, at least in all democratic governments. And thus, it's the people who are more important, not only in just the way in which they're able to build up their own friendships and society, but also in the way where they get to elect the people they want to elect. My second rebuttal is that their side says that rephrasing is a good way to negate instead of lying, to completely negate the problem. But they do not give a clear definition of what a lie is. And thus, we can assume that anything that's not a truth is a lie. By hiding the truth, that's technically just lying, right? And in that sense, and in that sense, rephrasing is also a lie. And thus that point supports us and not them.
It keeps turning off.
Yeah, it's okay.
Can I just keep talking? Go. Okay.
My third rebuttal is that they said if you have if in a world where there are lies, if you get discovered for lying, you're gonna lose your friends and you're gonna lose things that you get like your job. But we're saying if in a world where you can't lie, you're not gonna have those people in the first place. Because in any situation, there's gonna be at least a small chance that you don't like a small thing about someone. And because you don't like that small thing, the person might end up hating the entirety of you. Even though that's just a small thing, it doesn't make that big of an influence. And thus,
How do I turn off everyone?
and thus, I think that it's better to at least have friends in the beginning and have a chance of losing them by accidentally, let's say, exposing a lie that you made to have them as your friend because you actually like them as a person, rather than not even having friends in the first place. Now I'd like to do some reconstruction. Again, I'm coming back to this point, but the government side said that politicians are the ones who are mainly like in control and stuff, and so their like thing is more superior. But first of all, they're not the majority population, which is one very important thing, and second, it is the majority population who is electing them. So either way, this government, this debate, the main focus is on the citizens, not the government, and thus everything about the government should be negated in our point of view. Our second reconstruction is that they said if you have a job and one of your lies gets exposed, you might lose the job. But we might not even have a job in the first place in a world where we can't lie because that's it, time. In a world where we can't lie because like you won't even have an opportunity to have a conversation with that person in the first place. You're like, let's say, manager. And now I'd like to bring in a new point. It is completely unethical to not lie. We are limiting freedom of speech by completely disavowing the ability to lie. Freedom of speech is a right that we're given by nature. We cannot completely say no to our rights. That is completely unethical and illogical. Thus, I think that point should be standing. Thank you. Why is it turning off? I don't get it. Distance? No, because if I come too close, I'll speak. Because my voice is loud.
Hello. I am the reply speaker of the opposition side, and my time starts now. So first, I would like to state some rebuttals to their points, and then move on to strengthening our ideas while comparing and contrasting them to weigh their points. So first, for rebuts. Well, they said that most politicians will lie in our society, but what is the guarantee for most? And even if they gave us some kind of reason that it will be most, I don't think this is the truth because, well, I don't think most people in this society want to lie because in the status quo, not everybody is lying. It's not like over half or the majority of people or what they're saying is lies. That's not true because if that is so, then, I mean, I don't really think that the society can even, exist. So I think that this is just not really true. And they said the white lies were not good and didn't really give any mechanization to that. And so I think that that wasn't a really good rebut to what our point was. And so now moving on to comparing and contrasting our points. So first, we had the point that white lies are something that, well, is a basic function within our society and creates, we think that negativity of lies is balanced by the positivity of protecting feelings of other people. And, well, the trust elements within relationships would not exist because everyone can be trusted. If that's so, why would you need to create relationships? There's no incentive to do that. And so therefore, this is just not a positive thing for society because, well, if we don't have relationships, then why do we want to talk to people? Why do we want to interact? So the societal elements of society is not going to exist. So this is obviously not a positive thing. And our second thing was that reputation of ourselves would get worse. So, for example, if you're in an office and then that's your only income, but you hate the boss, you can't lie to them. That you can't say, oh, I actually like you because you're, my boss. So if that's so, then you're not going to earn money. And that's obviously not a good thing to do. And third, we're saying that it's not going to protect the freedom of speech that everyone has and is a basic right. And on their side, they're saying that, well, there's going to be lying politicians, which means there's no honest people somehow. And well, as we said, we don't really believe this is true, and we've already rebutted this. And they say that lying to maintain reputation is not good. But imagine that's your only way, or that's like the crucial thing that you have, and that's the only thing that you are able to do. Why are we taking away this kind of a little bit of freedom for people? And well, considering these two, it's gonna put people in dire situations, which are not even which are not things that are needed in the society. And so considering that we are able to refute both of their points and all of our points stand because they haven't really given us a good rebuttal. We think that we should win this debate. And finally, I would like to also talk about how the worlds will be in both sides. So in our world, there will be people who are going to maintain their jobs and maintain their well-being in terms of just life in general. While in their world, they're gonna have everyone that's honest, but because they're honest, there's no deep relationships. There's not people who are able to really keep the quality of life because there's no trust. There's no relationships. And so if there's no relationships, then as a societal animals, I don't think humans can survive or function correctly. So, in their world, we're making an unnatural world that is not really beneficial for anybody. So that's why I think that we should win this debate. Thank you.
Thank you, opposition reply. And now to conclude this debate, government reply, please. My speech will start in 3, 2, and 1. The ability to lie has been stagnating our society for an eternity, ranging from small lies about homework to lies about relationships that led to breakups, or even ones that led to hundreds of millions of dollars, but more importantly, the faith and trust that was supposed to exist within the citizens being lost. SAR's opposition claims to continue this society, to harm economies and emotions. They therefore support a humane sin, and we, the proposition, beg to differ. So, before all that, going on to refutes against the member of opposition. So they have gave some refutes. For example, they have given one refute about our point about politicians who lie to these citizens, and then also about the examples that our prime minister has raised about these politicians using the money that came from the taxes that they were supposed to use for their political actions for their own selves, right? So they have refuted this against this, saying that this was the minority, right? And so even though this may be the minority, if this exists, it affects the whole dignity of the taxpayers, right? So our prime minister was talking about the uragane mondai that happened. So this incident happened with when lies upon lies occurred within these politicians, and then that means that we are voting for these liars. This also takes down the point that they said about these citizens who are voting for these liars. Okay, next going on. So next review that they gave was against their framing about rephrasing exists, and they have refuted to this again, saying rephrasing is still a lie apparently. So first of all, so the first speaker of opposition did not say anything about our framing of rephrasing, nor did the second speaker, nor did the first speaker also offer an alternative to it. So we do not take this also. Okay. Also, they said quite a lot of things about jobs, and if you you might not be able to talk with the manager if you don't lie. So I just don't get this, since they have provided zero mechanisms about if you lie, then you will get a job interview. There was absolutely no mechanization upon this. And also they raised one example about freedom of speech, right? So such rights only apply to an extent in which it does not invade those of others, right? So if tax fraud is not included in invading the rights of others, we do not know what is. And also we have been given a few rebuttals from the LOR, but that we do not take them not viable. Okay, so the clash in this debate. So it's the significance of pride that these individuals have, or the hundreds of people who are harmed by the government in so many ways.
So let's take the case about like white lies and how relationships would indeed be saved if you make white lies, right? And take that with our case about politicians being untrue to their word. So the metric I will use to weigh is the scale of the impacts that will occur. So our side expands the impacts at a global level on this clash. Like lies change whole lives in some cases, simply unacceptable. Jobs, national relationships, and taxpayers are also harmed directly by this. Compare that with the people who make white lies and like save that one moment that like you and that person don't have like a good relationship. Our second speaker talked about like implications that might occur when they get quote unquote exposed. Even if we ignore this does not even compare, not even close to the individual's taxes being wasted. So this way proves our side superior to the opposition. It is a clear consensus that people do not want to be lied, nor do they want another individual to discover it. The idea that lies can be told if not discovered is morally incorrect. But what lies beneath the discovery of lies are societal damage, mental implications, and broken hearts. We aim to propose a society in which we take the common Japanese saying of making an individual drink 1,000 needles if they lie to the extreme, and promote a world in which lying is non-existent as a whole. For all these reasons, proud to propose. Thank you.
We thank Governor Rapai and all speakers in this debate for giving wonderful speeches, and now we'll go into deliberation. Thank you.